Hey everyone, I'm going to try this again. Kind of rambled on a little bit, and I didn't have something to kind of keep me a little bit awake, if you will, because talking does tire you out. But anyway, I was watching Zero Nizarak's videos recently because I sent him a package today. It kind of surprised me that it's actually been a year since I sent him the last package and 11 months since he answered my questions from that package. So hopefully he'll like what I sent him this time. Let's just say, Sean, if you're watching this, these are some rarities, as I told you before, that you might be surprised at how old these are. I'm not kidding when I say that either. And there are some animes, I will say this, there are some animes that you may have to watch on your own. They're kind of the adult animes, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's all the hints I'm going to give right there. So, with that said, I was watching the videos, and one of the things that Sean and I have always talked about, discussed, is, the whole situation with our 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, and even early 2000 cartoons capable of being released on Blu-ray. Well, as far as early 2000 cartoons go, early to mid-2000s, yes, they are capable. Because there are certain studios out there, like Warner Brothers, that had people prepared, or not had people prepared, but were prepared for the evolution of technology. Pretty much were ready for that next step, which is why, even with myself at the time, some people then, some people then, and public somewhat still do, wonder how Justice League could get on Blu-ray. Well, it's because the way it was filmed, or the way it was done, basically. It was put on film and all that, but the way it was done. So that's basically what, how Justice League was put on. Justice League Unlimited. I'm not sure about Unlimited yet, but the Justice League, the first one, the one that came before, yeah. Basically the way it was, filmed and animated, basically kind of helped out. Basically, Warner Brothers was kind of knew exactly, the people in charge of the series and distributing the series kind of understood that we were heading into a new era of technology as far as television and everything goes, with high def and everything, that if this was going to be like the send-off to basically as some people like to put it, the Bruce Timm era of DC animated television, before he helped christen the DCU original animated universe, if you will, then they wanted to go all out with Justice League, and that's what they did. Now, as far as other shows go, that was always the debate, can it be, can it not be? Well, it can be done, but not by remastering. No. You see, the way it can be done, and I saw a video on YouTube, I think I even showed this video to Sean, is the way it can be done is by taking all the episodes of the show, whether it's He-Man, Transformers, Brave Star, She-Ra, Ulysses 31, Visionaries, whatever, Inhumanoids. The only way it can be done is by taking those DVDs, those files that were saved when they were transferring them to DVD, getting them ready for DVD release, in my opinion, is by taking those same files and dumping them onto Blu-ray. But this time, instead of just saying, okay, like let's say with Inhumanoids, you have about, Inhumanoids and Visionaries about 2 discs, right? So instead of being like with the DVDs, okay, let's take the files of okay, we have about 6 on there on disc 1, let's put 7 on the last one. Instead of doing that, they could say, okay, now let's take the other 7 that we put previously on a separate disc on the DVD release, let's put them on the Blu-ray and finish off the Blu-ray, and there you go. And that's how it's done. Does it save a lot of space? Oh yeah, it saves a lot of space. Not just on the Blu-ray itself, but it saves space on your shelf when you purchase it. And financially, it saves the studio distributing it money. It does, in the end. Saves them a lot of money. So, basically, that's the only way you're going to get any 70s, 80s, 90s, 60s cartoons on Blu-ray is by basically having the DVDs that they were transferred on from the original broadcast masters dumped onto a Blu-ray with a majority of the other episodes that separated by different separate discs or separate DVDs or spanned across different DVDs all gathered on top of that as well. It's like, okay, let's say, what do we have around here? Hold on for a sec. I'm sorry if you heard that burp in there. That was me. Anyway, it'd be like, basically if you, okay, take a look at the gargoyles here. This is, this will probably be seen in another video down the line. But these are basically two, I'm assuming 3, I think, on this one. Yeah, 3. You got 5 here. Got 2, 3, and 3 here. So you got about 8 discs. You got 8 discs of gargoyles, if you will, of the first run of the original series before they did the Goliath Chronicles. You have all this. And they're all spanning 8 discs, right? If Disney decided to take these episodes, okay, and dump them onto a Blu-ray, it would take one Blu-ray to equal 8 discs, according to what Zara Nizarak told me about with Transformers. He said, when he answered that question last year, he basically said it would probably take only 2 discs to do the whole 98 episode deal of Transformers. 2 discs, 2, maybe 3. 2 or 3. I think he mentioned it one time when he was answering a question, when he did a whole segment or series on Transformers, like his closer look, I think he was doing a closer look on Transformers, I think, or something like that. And he did one video about G1 being on Blu-ray. And he said something between, like what he told me was 2 discs, and in that video where he talked about G1 being on Blu-ray, he said about 4 discs. So if he's saying 4 discs there, you're probably looking at maybe 1 or 2 discs right here, maybe 1 at the most. That's basically equaling 1 Blu-ray. And a lot of companies would go in that direction if it was to financially save them some money. Now, would they go out of the way to remaster it? If they could find people dedicated enough to spend their time in doing it, yes they would. Yes they would. If they could get people that would dedicate their time and effort into basically remastering, the coloring and everything, just remastering from head to toe, every episode of that series, then yes, they would do it. But they know better. They know better. They know that, yeah, you could do it, but it's not going to be worth the time it's going to take to go through every episode, reanimate it, or whatever. It's not. And basically what they're going to do, is do exactly what some video distributors in Germany and other countries have been doing, and that is just shovelware, as Sarah Nazarek puts it, the episodes onto a Blu-ray. And that's it. And that's what these would equal, one Blu-ray. Same with the Goliath Chronicles. You could slap them on, the 13 episodes of that on there too, and that would make for one Blu-ray. Maybe two, at most. I mean, you got about, like I said, you got, I don't know how many episodes, but you got a lot. I mean, you got 8 discs worth. You got the entire original series right here of Gargoyles, and that's 8 discs worth of episodes and bonus features. And then you add in maybe the potential of a 2-disc DVD release of the Goliath Chronicles, and altogether you got maybe 1 or 2 Blu-rays worth of content if Disney wanted to do that. Same with something like, say, Tiny Toon Adventures. That could take up about 2 or 3 Blu-rays, and that's it. Like I said, that could take up about 2 to 3 Blu-rays. And that'd be about it with Tiny Toons. Same with Animaniacs. Maybe 2 or 3 Blu-rays, all depending. But you see, it wouldn't be a remastering. It'd just be the same thing they did with DVD. They would take the broadcast masters, which they filed away on the computers in the archives, and just put them on the Blu-ray, with the addition of adding more episodes that they had separated and put on a different disc. They would take those episodes, like let's say a disc 2, like say they would take the episodes off of disc 2 if it was a 2-disc deal, and just slap them onto the Blu-ray along with the episodes that were on disc 1 of the original DVD release. That's it. You wouldn't have no remastering. You wouldn't have no, you wouldn't have no remastering of color, of picture, of audio, or anything like that. You wouldn't have them doing that. You wouldn't have no remastering into high definition. Because trust me on this, when you try to remaster it, it doesn't really work sometimes. I filmed some things a couple of times, some videos I'd done in the past, and tried to remaster them. I tried to convert them to 1080p, and yes, they look good. The only thing is sometimes they will cut you off in certain areas, and sometimes the audio doesn't sync up very well. That's the big problem. And sometimes the videos will be shortened. Like I tried to remaster my trip to Disneyland when I saw The Wonderful World of Color a couple of years ago. And let's just say the audio didn't sync in one, and the video was cut short by a few minutes. So, yeah. That's basically about it. I mean, unless you have studio-like technology at your disposal, it's not possible. It really isn't. Unless you have things like this, or what I'm using, or even a Kindle, that's the only way you're going to ever be able to have something filmed in high definition, if you know what I'm saying. Now, I know another question is, well, and I know one other question people have, even I have it at times, but I think I've got an idea about it, that people ask is, well, if that's the case, then how are some of these shows being able to be streamlined on Netflix, like places like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Vimeo and VDU? How is this possible? If they can't, how is this possible? These are mostly sites that are meant for high definition and dot 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 dot. Well, let me explain it like this. Netflix has attempted to do high definition transfers. I remember when I saw Transformers on Netflix, Hold on for a sec. That's just, never mind. That's just, not bill collectors, wrong number. But anyway, like I said, anyway, you know, people are always asking that. And as I mentioned, you know, Netflix tried to do it. And I think what they were doing was using the Rhino releases at first. Because I could see a big difference between episodes and stuff like that. But I think they were using the Rhino releases. And I think this is one of the reasons Hasbro's pulled out from them. They said, you ain't doing this no more. We're going to go to Vimeo. So anyway, yeah, I think that might have been one of the reasons. But yeah, these services are meant most times to really, you know, be for high definition, like devices like a television or mobile or whatever. I do agree on that. But it has been proven that just because something could be in high def doesn't mean it has to be. You know, I've noticed, I'll say this, you know, just because something's in high def, like I said, it doesn't have to be, because I've noticed with certain cable channels, if they can't expand the thing to high def, if they can't do it that way, they'll put something in the back. You'll have a square, yes, but you'll have something in the background of that square. If not, they'll just leave it blank. And that's it. And the only way you'll be able to go widescreen with it is pressing the widescreen feature or the wide button feature on your remote for your television, and that's it. So there you go. But as far as these shows going and being streamed onto these streaming services, it's very similar, like I said, for what the companies did when they took the broadcast masters and transferred them to DVD, and then by doing so, saving those files and archiving those files on the computers and stuff, and with the potential of probably, if someday it happens, just dumping them all onto a Blu-ray or so, for Blu-ray, onto a Blu-ray or 2 or 3 for a potential Blu-ray release. These same companies, what they're doing is they're licensing out to places like Netflix, VDU, Vimeo, Hulu, Amazon. They're licensing out their shows, and in my opinion, what they're doing is they're sending them copies of the transfers of the broadcast masters that they saved on their archives to them. They're sending them copies so that those places like Amazon, like VDU, like Vimeo, like Netflix, like Hulu, can stream and broadcast them, or well, basically upload them onto the service so that people can stream them, you know, on whatever device they're watching it on, you know. And if they have the option and the studio and distributor allows them to, places like VDU and Amazon, you know, and I think maybe even Vimeo will allow you to purchase the episode and then download it to watch whenever you want to. So that's basically why a lot of these shows are, in my opinion, from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 70s, and 60s, why you're able to watch them on these streaming sites. It's because basically these streaming sites have been given the license to show these episodes, to show these shows, but also have been given the license, if some of them are allowed to sell the shows for purchase for people to watch. And there you go. Nothing else. You know, basically, like I said, it's like if they take something that they put on DVD, by saving, it's like, okay, it's like I said, that when they take the broadcast masters and put them on DVD, they also at the same time saved